Hello everyone, good evening, happy 30th of December to you all. Welcome to Roma Theory in what will probably be the last video of the year. I might go live tomorrow actually, I'm not sure if I will. Depends on my plans on what will go on tomorrow. But yeah, what a year it's been. I mean, it's been a long one. It's been a crazy one for Roma fans. It really has. As we said in these past days, I have a feeling it flew by. Am I the only one who says this? Am I the only one who gets the impression that this year literally went by like this? Yeah, they say that when you grow up, years start going faster, don't they? They do say that. They do. I guess I'm getting old too. Kids in a bit. I'm joking. Right. I want to speak about a few things today. Of course, the big dilemma after yesterday's game continues. Pellegrini, clear out plans. Pellegrini and Cristante together. Some outlet sources have said today, have been communicated that they are part of the clear out and that they are going to leave in January and they need to find teams as soon as possible. So I do want to speak about that. Speaking about the January window, I also feel like players leave, players must come in. So a few ideas, a few profiles that I am certainly interested in, a few replacements, a few players that we need to cover, and looking also at what our future manager will want one day, and basing this transfer window, I hope, on the ideals of a new manager rather than Ranieri. Shomurodov, apparently, Empoli are interested in him. I'm glad that we're hearing about this because he does need to go and we need a better Dovbyk replacement and we need somebody who can level the competition of Dovbyk too, because in order for Dovbyk to improve, in my opinion, you also need to hire the bar for him. So, striker plans 100%. But yes, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We're getting closer to 14k. It's very unlikely. If I can ask you for a miracle, is if we can hit 14,000 subscribers but before 2025 comes in. So we've got 24 hours, a bit more than 24 hours. It would be amazing. Get your friends and family to subscribe, like the button yourself. And if we can get 100 likes, we can end the year with a cherry on the cake. Also, let's have a chilled one. Cheers to everybody. Get your drinks. I'm not an alcoholic, by the way. I just like having a drink when I'm on holiday, chilling it out with you guys. So cheers to everybody. Right, where can we start? Of course, it's a derby week as well. Don't forget this. And this is kind of why it's inevitable that we're hearing the criticisms, to some extent also hate to Pellegrini back at it. It's normal after the performance that he had yesterday. I think you can't expect him not to get attacked by the media and by the fans the following day. And I think a performance like that one requires heavy criticism to him. And it's inevitable, but I would say that it's such a vital week. We've got the derby coming up on Saturday, 6 days, and we're playing one of the most important games of the season. You know how much the game means. You know how much it means to the fans on both sides. We will speak about the game in a few days on a more focus. But you know how much it means. You know how important it is to the city of Rome. And of course for the media attention and everything. So to start this massive week, because this is a massive week, to start this massive week like this is not good. But I also, as I said before, it's just inevitable. I knew the second Pellegrini got subbed on yesterday. I knew that the following day, today, everything was about him. And look, I said what I think about the situation in the match reaction yesterday. I do want to speak about the Pellegrini topic and kind of connect it to this evidence of a clear out, which is getting more and more progressive. It's becoming clearer that in January, Pellegrini and Cristante will probably leave. They will be the epicenter of this clear out. and how we will move towards this clear out. But yeah, in order to say this, I must say that he's just I think it's a psychological problem. It really is. It's a psychological problem, and I feel bad for him. I do feel bad for him because we've seen kind of the two extremes of Pellegrini. We've seen Pellegrini lift the trophy, and we are seeing Pellegrini like this in the space of a bit more than 1 year and 2 years. And it gives you goosebumps because I do feel bad for him. But unfortunately, as I said before, as I said yesterday, and as I will repeat once again, for the benefit of every party here, this adventure needs to end. You know the famous quote which goes, sometimes it's better to let go of the rope than, keep hold of it. I think this situation it can be described by this. There is no need to force this. There is no need to force. He's done it with us. He's proven to us that he can be a good player, not a good captain, but a good player. Now it's time to break things apart, and he needs to leave in January. His time is gone. His time is over. We cannot be waiting for him anymore because we've waited for him a lot of time, and it's just not clicking. He's not clicking this season. He's not scoring. He's not contributing. And in these past few weeks, he's not even playing. So it needs to end in January, in June at the latest. But really, in January, he needs... If at the end of the day, I truly believe that if you want to start a clear out in January, the first player that you need to sell is the captain of this cycle. I don't think it makes sense to you speak so violently of a clear out, use big tones about it. Oh, you little filthy players, I'm going to clear all of you out because all of you have got no dignity. I think it's useless to act all big and all tough. Clear out, revolution, and then not starting the revolution with the captain. If you want to start this clear out, the first player that needs to go is the captain. And with him, Cristante needs to go. In January, the players that need to leave are Pellegrini, Cristante, Cilic, Hermoso, and Shomurodov. These are the 5 that must go. Then there are, of course, a few players that need to go, but with less urgency. I look at Lefebvre, I look at Zaleski, I look at... these are the players that need to go, but on a less urgent note, there are way more important players to get rid of as of now. I think going back just a second, I think the moment everything fell out with Pellegrini is the moment. It's a result of the De Rossi kind of show. I think Pellegrini this low, psychologically this low, and therefore fitness this low, on a fitness note this low, and looking so depressed, and literally being on the verge of leaving the club, is a result which is strictly connected to the De Rossi show that happened in September, the De Rossi circus show that happened in September. Now, I do agree with people that there were factors over these past few seasons that contributed to weakening Pellegrini, and I think these factors are the Europa League final loss, because before the Europa League final loss, he was a player, and after the Europa League final loss, he's another player. So he definitely suffered because of that final. And I remember this, and I think it's still on YouTube or on Instagram, wherever it is. It's there somewhere on the web, because I remember seeing this. The 2nd of June, Roma posted a video on Instagram or YouTube, I can't remember, of Pellegrini speaking for the first time after the Budapest final. And I remember watching that video and I'm like, right, I'm not sure if he's meant, like if he's been told to look this depressed. Of course, we just lost the final. But you look at that video, of course, it wasn't a moment to smile about in anything because nobody was smiling back then. But you could see how low Pellegrini was in that little clip. Go back, find it and watch it because I think the Europa League final contributed to this. Mourinho getting sacked contributed to this, and therefore the attacks that he got for sacking Mourinho. Dybala coming in is a contributor to him playing like this, because before Dybala came, he was at the center of the team. Now he's not at the center anymore. But I don't think that's a good excuse. You know, you're the captain. You need to adapt for the benefit of your club. Getting Dybala is a benefit to the club. So I don't think it's fair, and I think it's wrong. I think it's childish to. I suffer because I'm not at the center of the attention anymore. But the trigger of everything, these factors all played a big part, but the trigger of everything was De Rossi. It was sacking De Rossi. It was absolutely that, because he never wanted De Rossi to get sacked. And if some people said that Pellegrini contributed to Mourinho being sacked, I still don't think Pellegrini is the reason Mourinho got sacked. I do agree that I can see it happen. I can vision the scenario of things aren't clicking, cycle is over, team mutinies, captain goes to the ownership and goes, we need to change, please sack the manager. I can see that happen with De Rossi. Anybody who says that Pellegrini contributed to De Rossi being sacked is a clown, and I will call you a clown. Because blaming Pellegrini for the sacking of De Rossi means not understanding what the fuck went about when they decided to sack him. And I think Pellegrini internally massively fought against the De Rossi decision. I tend to believe it's a conspiracy theory. Football is built on conspiracy theories at the end of the day. There are a few people, a few pundits, a few mainstream media people, journalists, who argue that the second Pellegrini knew about De Rossi being sacked is the second Pellegrini himself asked to be sold. Now, I would not be surprised if this had happened. Now, of course, Pellegrini always in front of the microphones says that he wants to stay, that he wants the best of his team and Roma, and therefore he wants to stay and fight for us. But again, that's kind of what he needs to say. He's the captain. He won't say, I'm the captain, I want to leave. I do strongly believe that he massively fought against, to even try to bring De Rossi back. And the second he got negative signs from the board is the second he said, right, I cannot be dealing with the attacks that the people are giving me. You are using me as a scapegoat because now everybody attacks me when they should be attacking you. And this is kind of the only thing in these past few months that I defend Pellegrini in. The attacks that he received after the De Rossi tantrum are ridiculous. They are absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The attacks that certain fans gave to Pellegrini because of the De Rossi sack is ultimately the reason he's like this. Because he never recovered. Because you questioned his love and his appreciation for De Rossi, blaming him for sacking a manager, which he was never responsible about. So, yeah, now we're here. The thing with him, which I think is maybe it's not the same with other players, is that he's just like, you can't get him back. You know, you just can't get him back. If there are players at this football club which are playing very badly, but I still have a little, even if it's a little tiny hope, I do have a little hope of giving them faith and ultimately get them back going. With Pellegrini, I've lost any hope that he will get back. He died at Roma and he will be dead at Roma unless he changes club. So in January he needs to leave. I don't want Pellegrini to leave on a free, which is why he either leaves in June or January. Ideally in January, I think it would help the team also. On a financial point of view, I think Pellegrini could get you, if he doesn't leave on a free, Pellegrini will guarantee you 15 million in the banks, and 15 million, will be reinvested massively in a transfer window where Ghisolfi is massively, massively under pressure. Because if he fails to provide good players in January as well, then Ghisolfi is another guy who needs to go in June. And yeah, he will leave with other players. Outlets today, sources today, reports today are saying that in these past few days, Roma have communicated to both Pellegrini and Cristante that they need to find a club in January because Roma's intention is to sell them. Yeah, I mean, Pellegrini went from Peter Pan to Reagan, the vomiting girl in the Exorcist movie, in 365 days. And it's not even like you could film a Netflix documentary on Pellegrini's downfall and all the behind the scenes. He really went from, I'm not joking, he went from Peter Pan to Reagan in The Exorcist. I don't know why I just said this comparison. It kind of makes no sense if you know, because you know what I was thinking. I was little, right? When I was little, I don't know why this just came up in my mind. I was young. When I was young, I have a lot of cousins. Two of them were very mean with me when I was young, and they bullied me, and they were older than me, and I remember this because it's hilarious. I used to spend the majority of my summer when I was like 8 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. They've got this house in the countryside, and I remember one day they got me to sit in front of a computer, and they showed me this 20-second video on YouTube. And it was basically this video of this green room with like green lights and a rocking chair, which started rocking in the middle of nowhere with nobody sat on it. And I was staring at this chair, and then 10 seconds into the video, the girl from The Exorcist jumped scared out of the screen. And that was probably the most brutal moment of my childhood. Again, this is something that you can search up on YouTube. Search it up. It was scary. Like, picture me, 8-year-old, in front of a computer, being forced to watch that video when I was told it was like a little movie. It was absolutely, it destroyed me, that video. That's why Reagan came up in my mind. Anyways, moving on. I've got a few notes that see, these are my talking points. Yeah, one thing that I want to say, another thing that I wanted to open up in this video is, let's stick on the clear out topic, right? For me, in order to ultimately decide who stays and who doesn't, I'm not the manager. I can't decide. I know who I want to leave and who needs to stay. But who needs to stay? This is very simple when I say this, but it's massively important. You have a chat. At the end of in January, whenever you want, you have a chat. Ranieri, next to Dan Fredkin, next to Ryan, next to Ghisolfi, next to whoever, next to the board. You get all the players in a room. You have a serious meeting, and you ask to these players, this is the position that we're in. It might take a few years to get Roma back to where it belongs. Who here is willing to fight for us and stay? Pull your hands up. That, in my opinion, is the way you decide to clear out. That's the way you decide to clear out. Hopefully you will get a few hands up, otherwise it's going to be complicated. There are going to be players which are going to go, I'm at the end of my career. I hoped that this adventure would have been better than this. With all due respect, I want something else. I look at Hermoso. He's so going to do this, by the way. Like, Hermoso's the classic guy to go, Ranieri starts going, right, we're here, put your hand up. Hermoso's going to go like that immediately. He's got that bitchy attitude. I've said it already. These type of players will want to leave. Then, of course, you've got the precious players. The precious players, in my opinion, Dybala's precious, yes, but I mean in terms of value, in terms of future potential. In terms of future potential, you've got 3 massively precious players right now. You have other players around them that could, but are not clicking and are not sparking. The 3 players are Manu Kone, Svelor, and Pisilli. These are the 3 players who've got future potential, who you can, get a value in, establish a value in, will sell. If you do decide to sell them, you will sell them at a high price. The rest, in my opinion, you will have difficulties in selling. My question here is, I hope that I'm wrong, because I hope that these players, I look at Kone more than Pisilli and Svelor. I look at Kone and I'm like, will Kone want to stay though? I fear that Kone will have a very similar career to Rudiger. Like, we were very good in scouting him, but he's just too good for us. That he is going to say one day, I loved you, but, I need to think about my career as well. Now, I hope that this won't happen this summer, because I do feel like you need to solidify the foundations of this project, and the only way you solidify these foundations is if you kind of, do keep the most important players. And then just a little quick word on Svelor, very quick word. When are we going to give Svelor a contract extension, by the way? Svelor, out of all of them, is the one who deserves to earn the most money based on this season, based on inside the pitch performance and outside the pitch performance. Svelor is the player out of all of them which, as of today, deserves to earn the most money. But yet, we've got players, again, I look at Pellegrini, I look at Cristante, who earn 150k a week, 6 million each season, and we are struggling to get the best out of. You see what I mean? I also feel like you need to base the clear out on meritocracy. Who deserves to stay? Who out of these players here deserves to stay and therefore deserves a pay rise and a contract extension? I can't name many players who deserve the amount of money that they are earning and therefore deserve a contract extension. The only players that I could name who deserve, this doesn't mean that they will get it or not, but deserve based on the performances that they've pulled this season, Svelor, Kone, Pisilli, and again, okay, I will put Dybala, because if Dybala is the Dybala that played yesterday, then I can even keep him with one leg, because he makes my team flow and he's the best player on my team. And okay, Paredes, yes, but only under Ranieri. I think you need to analyze a player since August to now. Which is why I was saying, before giving a contract extension to Dybala and Paredes, let me see if they are gonna be the players that they were in these past 2 games until the end of the season. Because yes, Dybala played great yesterday. Paredes has been playing fantastically for 2 months now. But where were they before this? When the boat was sinking, Where were they? Well, Svilor, when the boat was sinking, was the only one who put the balls on the pitch and outside the pitch. So, in my opinion, the ones who deserve it. Get away favoritism and be objective. Be objective, be honest with yourself, the ones who deserve it. So, forget the fact that he's your favorite player, or that he's the best player, or that, favoritisms and hierarchies and everything. I am basing my judgment and clear out on meritocracy, okay? And the only ones who I could name are Kone, Pisilli, and Svilor. Not even Dybala and Paredes. Now, I'm not saying that don't give them a contract extension. I'm saying based on these months, they can get a contract extension. They can play great for the next 3 months. And oh yeah, I will give them a contract extension. But based on these what we've seen this season, not 2 years ago, because then if you base things on 2 years ago, of course I put Dybala. So, these are the things that I would say. You've got players like Dybala and Paredes who, if they play like they played yesterday, 100% give them a contract extension. 100%. You see what I mean? I think Svilor needs a contract extension soon, or you will lose him, because Svilor is your next Alisson, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Svilor is absolutely phenomenal. He is the best Serie A goalkeeper. And it's not many times that I put our players involved in best starting 11s or best debate players in the league. I've got no fear and no problem saying it. Svilor is the best goalkeeper in the league title, in the league, in the Serie A. He is. Full stop. Allow me to say this. Allow it. Allow it. And then, Shomurodov, Empoli wants him. In January, we need second striker, right back, winger. 3 positions. Of course, at the same time, you need to sell Pellegrini, Cristante, Cilic, Hermoso, in my opinion, and Shomurodov. Sell them and buy a right back who can start, who can have the quality to start, Mr. Dan Fredkin. For the love of God, a starting right back, not a shit right back. Let's not confuse the two terms. A second striker, because Shomurodov is not good enough. He puts his heart and soul in games, but he's not good enough. And yeah, to higher the bar for Dovbyk, 100%. Because I also feel like the reason Dovbyk isn't playing well is because he knows that he's going to start either way. Last season, you had Lukaku and Tammy, who could balance it out. Lukaku was better than Tammy. It's not a good comparison at all. I don't know why I said this. But at least you had somebody who, could put pressure on Lukaku a bit. And you had Azmoun as well. This season, you've got nobody who can put pressure on Dovbyk. So you need a striker, which I would also say to the same level as Dovbyk. Yes. And a right winger or a left winger to kind of move the play wide and start playing wide and fast. Paredes and Homos were on the bench. You do have a point, Fernando. You do have a point 100%. You do have a point on Homos. On Paredes, I don't know. Because even that game against Empoli, and he played a few games with Juric, and the first few games with De Rossi this season, Paredes wasn't good. I think Paredes started clicking in London against Spurs this season. Homos, yeah, but you do have a point. Paredes and Homos are 2 players that, yes, I do want to see in the team next season. But, yeah, you do have a point, I guess. Inter want Lorenzo in the summer. If that happens, I'm sure Lorenzo will thrive at Inter and become world-class again, like Miki revitalized his career at Inter. I also feel like he could go to Inter because it's the classic Inzaghi signing. Inter are a team that don't like big signings. They already have a fantastic team. They just add quality to it with some bang average signings that look to us, but then become very fundamental layers of the system. I look at Acerbi, I look at Mkhitaryan, yes, Zielinski, Taremi. You know, these are all players that Inter can buy better players than this, but they are strategically buying players who are kind of considered scraps in other teams to revitalize them and add quality to their team. So I can see it happen as well. I do, and I mean, if he thrives at Inter, he won't start at Inter. No, he won't. But the one thing that I would say, however, is if you do want to start talks with Inter, I would consider a swap deal with Frattesi. Because I know that Roma want Frattesi, and if Pellegrini want Inter, if Frattesi doesn't get any game time at Inter, if they want Pellegrini, I'd try and find a way to swap deal. And of course, we'd have to pay them some money, but of course, it would lower the Frattesi's price tag down. I try I try to fix something around Frattesi as well, because I think, yeah, why not? Fullbacks, we should do Dest, but that's unlikely. Saud is good. Chilika needs to go. Angelino fullback is already good. Yeah, on the left, you're not bad. It's the right that's the problem. Oh, of course, another thing that I want to see in January is the 1st of January 2025. I want to see Salamakers on a permanent move. Whether it involves Tammy or not, in January, buy and spend the money for Alexis Salamakers. I'm in love with that player. I don't know why. It's the way he moves. It's the bitchy attitude that he has. I'm very looking forward to Salamakers on Sunday. On Saturday, it's his first derby. And let me tell you that Salamakers has got a great derby little attitude. He's a player that if you have in your team you love, against you, you absolutely hate him. I hated him at Bologna last season. I can't wait. Salamakers on Saturday will be fun. Salamakers has a little knobby head attitude. He'll get those Lazio fired. He'll get them annoyed. He'll get them annoyed because he does that perfectly. He really does. I want to keep him. I like him. I really like him, and I really want us to try and find a way. Which league do you think he will end up in, Serie A or abroad? Which one could do better for him? I think better for him, Serie A. I see him all in a Fiorentina kit. I think teams like Fiorentina are his teams, where he can be at the center of the team and also perform well. At Inter, I'm not sure if he would perform massively, but teams like Fiorentina, yeah. Napoli, but more Fiorentina. I'd say Atalanta, but he's just not an Atalanta player because he doesn't run. So I'm thinking of a team. In the Premier League, he won't last. He'll follow up as Chiesa, sitting on the bench every single weekend. Yeah, Fiorentina, I think, would be the best team for him. Gives Valor the extension on the armband, I agree. What about swapping Beto and Pellegrini? I mean, I'd rather cash in on Pellegrini because I'm not that convinced on Beto. I think if you want to compete in the Europa League and the Coppa Italia and try to win it, you need to go big and sign good quality players in January. And I'm not sure if Beto is good quality. He's definitely better than Shomurodov, but I feel like we can do a bit better. Simo, would you fancy at Roma the man of the moment, Moise Kean? No, I don't like him. He's having a season of his wonders. Fiorentina are having the season of their wonders. He's a bang average player. I like the fact that he respected. I've never been a fan of him. The only thing he can do, the only thing he could have done and was able to do on a football pitch before this season was hit the gritty. Let's be honest with ourselves. He's hit the great season in a team that is living, that everything is going against for them. Moise Kean, will have and return a very bang average player next season. Mark my words. And if he signs for us and have a bad season, then we will absolutely denigrate him. And I've already seen this script. I've already seen this script with Tammy. I've already seen this script with so many other strikers. And yeah, he's not a massive player. He's just hit the season. We should have kept Patrick Schick too. What a player. Firebomb. Dovbyk is rubbish at finishing, but what an assist yesterday for Dybala. Yes. Torino. Look, I mean, with all due respect for Pellegrini, he could probably be a bit better than Torino. Like, Torino are very bad. Torino are a bad team. Like, Pellegrini does not deserve Torino. Like, whether you like him or not, Pellegrini doesn't deserve Torino. Come on. Fiorentina is a team that knows what to do, has a fixed project, you know, will rise and will only be. They've got an interesting manager. I've never been a fan of Palladino, but I must say he's not bad. Torino just a mess, a complete mess. Yeah. Right, I'm going to end it here. It's been 35 minutes. I'm not going to keep it too long. I'll try and go live tomorrow. Otherwise, have a great one. We will reminisce on 2024 in the first stream back, I guess. It's been a great year. It's been a difficult year, full of ups and downs. But I guess we're a community, we're family, and we go through all this together, as we always say. Hit the like button, please do it. 100 likes on the video would be great. Please do hit the like button. Like, you don't know how much it could change everything. It literally takes 2 seconds, no money involved. Just hit that thumbs up and it would be great. Like or not, live or not, I meant. If you're watching live or not like or not, do like. Subscribe and talk to you soon. Have a good one. Simo, out.